The idea is to get the sword to your opponent as quickly as possible. There are as many ways to do this as there are shapes of the human body and people doing this. What I've seen a lot of people do is put their hip into it. This is, you've heard this in a lot of martial arts. You come out of the ground, put your hip into it and your lower back, and that gives you an inverted pyramid of force from your foot, from your hips up to your shoulders that gives you a lot of power to snap the sword forward. Other people have said don't bother with the hip. It's about bringing the elbow forward. And I've looked at a lot of videos and studied a lot of fighters, and I realized the point of bringing the hip is to bring the elbow forward. Everybody who says bring the hip forward is bringing the elbow forward when they're doing it. If you can bring the elbow forward fast enough, you don't need to use the hip. Therefore, you use less effort and it takes less time. So, one method that I have learned is bring your elbow across your chest and then close the bottom 3 fingers of your hand. 1, 2. And this works kind of like the reason a ball and chain works is because every link of the chain increases your force, increases your speed exponentially. So, the shoulder is 1 link in a chain, and each finger is another link in the chain. 1, 2, 3, and your wrist closes it. Now, if you're at a greater range, then you bring the elbow forward, and your shoulder and then your elbow is another link, and then your wrist is another link, and the 3 fingers. Now, of course, if you do put your hip in it, that's another link. Hip, shoulder, elbow, wrist, 1, 2, 3. And you can really, you would think it really takes some skill with it. That's why we have heavy helmets.
In fact, I don't know if the camera sound picked that up, but on that last swing you did, you can actually hear it cutting through the air.
How did that feel?
I feel a lot of force coming off of that, you know? I had to really steady myself and hold it, and as you can see, it was still going anyways.
All right, you want to try?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. Why not?
Hold the sword like so.
Okay.
Now just try closing your 3 fingers. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Let the wrist go, loose wrist, so that when you close the 3 fingers, it like pulls the sword down. 1, 2, 3. Middle, ring, bottom.
Middle, ring, bottom.
Just like you open a counter.
Because I do that so often.
Right. Middle, ring, bottom. There you go. Boom. You feel how just that gives you a lot of force.
Well, yeah, especially with keeping the wrist loose. As soon as you bring down the 3rd finger, automatically the weight's coming forward.
Right. Now just turn your palm up and do it sideways.
So from back here,
yes,
and then 1, 2, 3.
Right.
1, 2, 3.
Right. Good. Now we're going to add the elbow to that. So you start with the sword on your shoulder, palm up, and your hand as close to your shoulder as possible.
Okay.
You simply bring your elbow across the chest, and then you close the hand. Just like that. Just like that. Boom. Do you feel anything?
Well, when you say do I feel anything, what are you asking me if
Do you
I'm
feel
feeling?
force being transmitted?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as you can see, just as it's coming across, it's here, you know?
Okay.
Let's try that again properly. Boom.
All right. Now keep your hand close to your teeth.
Close to the teeth, okay?
Yeah, and the palm up.
Palm up.
Like you're holding a tray of soup.
Okay.
Open up your
Very
elbow.
awkward, people. Okay. And cross.
There you go. Now really think about keeping your hand flat.
Okay.
Think about keeping the sword on a horizontal plane. Aim for the spot right above where my sword is.
All right. So, cross with the elbow and close the fingers. Like that.
Good, good.
And up and across.
Okay. Now don't think about swinging your forearm. Just think about bringing your elbow across and closing the hand.
So it's cross and close. Cross and close.
Great. Keep your hand high. Keep your hand at mouth level.
The hand at mouth level.
Yeah.
Cross and close. And I gotta say, this is all surprisingly strenuous. And when you think of people involved in these activities, you don't think of them being in necessarily good shape, but from doing this just a few times, my arm and shoulder are killing me. And you tell me that battles can go on for 4 hours in a day. People must be swinging hundreds and hundreds of times.
Well, there's a couple of things about that. One, your body will adapt according to the demands put on it,
Yes.
and you've never done anything like this in your life.
Very true.
Also, you've been swinging it longer than we've seen in this video because we edited it down for time. And a few times you were using your shoulder and your forearm more than you had to.
Okay.
And that puts stress on your shoulder and on your elbow. So that's why people develop moves that put less stress on their shoulder and their elbow.
Makes a lot of
So
sense.
if you'll stand back and watch my move, you'll notice that like that here, boom, there is no weight on my shoulder. There is no force on my shoulder. Instead of having to hold my arm out here, I'm keeping it all in tight. And when I need to get range, I punch forward. A lot of people get into because it's called a swing, a lot of people think that they have to swing when they first start out. But then they realize that they don't have to, it's more about closing and punching. Now, again, there's a million different ways of fighting. There are people who believe in putting your entire body into every move one way or the other. And they will come around and even by doing this, by putting their whole body into it, they're not putting as much stress on the shoulder pitching muscles.
Okay.
Because they're putting their whole body into it. Hopefully, at PEnnsic, we'll get to take classes from instructors who have been fighting for many years and have different styles, so we'll be able to analyze that. But this is the way I do it, from here to here to here to here, and then to come with the wrap shot to the back of the head. All of this using very little actual muscle and almost no shoulder. So in 25 years of fighting, I've never had any shoulder issues. Also, your arm harnesses are heavier than mine. Adaptation to specified demand.
Yes. There we go.